Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. This is Dr. Gaze 101. Welcome to my BitChute YouTube simulcast together of my good old video series. Today I'll be on my gaming channel on YouTube as well as on BitChute. Um, yeah, it's to a point where it's like, just stop it. Look, I understand games, video games, perhaps even um, chess pieces or board games, stuff like that can be of violence and stuff as well too, right? But not really. Like by study, like video games have been an outlet for a good source of entertainment and to get escape from reality and everything else. So I can agree with that part. Now, as far as it being the cause of mass shootings and endless violence in the streets, if that's the case, you should have said something like that with the Chicago, Illinois victims of the shooting family and stuff like that. It's like they've been shot at every weekend. How many times out of the week? It's like, what's going on here? Like, why are people on the news? On the news saying that it's the violent video games, it's the endless killings and stuff like that, and Halo and Call of Duty and porn and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's not the only thing that causes causes violence. And in retrospect, it doesn't cause violence in the long term to begin with. So all this about short term, long term, like usage and play of these games depends on who you talk to on the news. Who listens to the news. It's just basically outright lies. I don't like the fact that me personally, I'm a gamer, and you're telling me I could be violent, or I could be this mass shooter, or whatever. Like, if that's the case, then I would have already killed someone by now after all these decades of playing games. Or if I want to take over the government because of video games, we got to blame that tee? I mean, come on now. Like, this doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, yes, children died, and by this gruesome guy, this heinous guy, this kid, 18 years old too. Kids killing kids, or teenagers killing kids, and he's just as bad as any other mass shooter out there that killed those kids, like in the 2012 shooting or 2007 Virginia Tech, things that matter. So, and also we got the Buffalo, New York shooter from like 2 weeks ago plus. I understand, guys. I understand. To those who are outside the gaming realm, the gaming network of sorts, don't know anything too about gaming, I can wholeheartedly understand. You see something about the younger generation not being social with themselves in person, because on the Xbox, I will agree with you on this point. Kids on the Xbox, especially if they're like around 16 to 25 years old, they don't care that they can say the N-word, or they can make a threat to someone on the Xbox Live or any other gaming device, especially. It's a lot of that. I went through that. I've been on Xbox Live for, technically speaking, 14 years, 13 because I was a year in the hospital. Shows are well aware, and I am considered to be a mentally ill person by New York State law, or New York State jurisdiction of the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. So it's not like I'm playing around or committed fraud for collecting money or paying into the system, collecting the money, or able to go to outpatient therapy, which I have been since 16, and then by 2020 I transferred to another facility not too far from me. Not too far from me, and for 2 years I've been getting phone therapy every week, and also call my doctor regularly, like once a month, for my medication intake and medication balancing, we'll call it like that. So yes, do I at times look violent? Yeah, because I'm 6'7", 300+ pound man. I mean, people will look at me a certain way. But you cannot say that I'm a dangerous person because I'm 6'7". You should say that to your boy President Biden. Biden, he may be like 5'8" or 9 at best, 6 feet tall, and he has nuclear weapons that can destroy half the world within seconds. So don't give me this crap where it's like I'm a dangerous man. Look at your presidents. Look at your political leaders. They have ability to start nuclear war if they want to, if they really want to. That is. Hopefully it's conventional war, but still, they can start wars at any given time. They can declare war at any given time. So don't blame me, little of me somewhere in Queens, like, oh, this guy is a threat. If that's the case, then I would have done something by 15 years of playing on Xbox Live by now with other people. And most of them are like around a certain age group. So there are some 30, 40, and 50-year-old gamers out there on the Xbox Live especially. I met them either indirectly or directly. They talk about their experience being an oil driller or one of those working at the oil rigs, stuff like that, or Vietnam veterans. I talked to at least 2 of them so far. So, and I personally myself am considered to be a fast food worker, a full-time fast food worker. Now it's going to say, oh, Joe, there's nothing right there. Well, who's going to flip your burgers? Who's going to make your burgers? Who's going to make your sandwiches at Subway Sandwiches? Gotta be someone, right? So you have to make sure, not to take off your sandwich maker or your burger maker. So otherwise, things will happen. Other than that, on a serious note, sorry about that, guys. Look, we all been through a lot for the last few weeks with all these mass shootings, and it's to a point where it's getting out of hand. Yes, has it always been like this? Not really. For the last 20 years at least, has been a problem. And we had mass shootings prior to the age of the mainstreaming of video games. Back in 2007, we had the Virginia Tech student. That was him being antisocial from whatever means necessary, because he's an Asian. Because we emotion in most things in Asian culture, because education is very valuable. So he must have felt the need to start killing people for the sake of having better grades or whatever the news is. I think not talking about. But me as a somewhat young adult, I'm 34 right now, and I have been playing games since as early as like 6 years old with my Nintendo system. Got my Super Nintendo over here. I just get to see me play Revolution X. See that my most recent videos. Yeah, I mean, you cannot blame every single little thing of any violent acts of aggression or violent acts of killing from a video game altogether. There's just no way. Now, are the news telling the truth that there's a problem with our TV and video game usage on loads of movies and games and you name it? Like, is it a problem? To some extent, maybe, but it's all about discerning between fiction and reality. Yes, this is fiction, not fiction, but this is I'm on here on the internet talking to at least 50 people at a time. Depends on how much the viewership or the view counts will say. It will say like 5 views on YouTube and then 35, 40, 50 views on BitChute for some strange reason. That's good right there in the YouTube's part. They like to deceive people. That's what I hate about the media. They like to deceive people. And you know what? As long as we have a voice, us gamers, no matter how old we get or how young we are, we still have a voice to say about the matter at hand. Because I pay my games. I've been paying my games for at least 10, 12, 13 years now. On my own. While working, getting benefits, loans, whatever. Like, it's whatever. I contribute for the last 7 years to this YouTube gaming career, as you can tell from my channel on YouTube. I've been doing this for 7 years before my deletion of my channel because of copyright. I will admit that it was copyright because of some rapper who was underground. No one ever heard of Jocelyn on Deck. That's right, Jocelyn. I mentioned your name. That was 5 years worth of work that I cannot get back, not even 1 or 2 of those videos. I don't have all those videos literally on my hard drive. All gone. Poof. Poof. What can I say, right? But in the end, it's YouTube, it's the internet. There's always going to be different people, different unpopular beliefs and statements and attractions that they portray on the internet. If it had not been for the internet, I guess you could say we wouldn't have as many mass shootings. But then again, there was always going to be killings in Chicago, Illinois. There's always going to be some street fights in New York City where I live and things of that matter. So it's like, who are we fooling? I'm not trying to say that we will never end violence or we'll never end mass shootings in this country. But eventually, it's going to be another shift where it's like, the gamers not gamers altogether, but the ones that play games too much, they all organize and just act like nothing's happening. Because obviously it's to a point where it's like you call it gamers misogynist, you call it gamers fascists and pigs and rapists, and everyone's sexist, everyone's homophobic, and everyone's xenophobic. You have to point it all out, like Kadia Sarkeesian said, all that stuff about games and media. You know, I just don't know anymore, guys. To the point where it's like, can we just let games be and just don't infiltrate every single time into the game industry? For the last 7 years, I've seen a lot of bullshit from the game industry now, from the political correctness to the LGBT stuff, trying to be what's called be anti-violent games, who are called like Beyond Eyes. Beyond Eyes was just some typical random YouTuber one that influenced that game. Now, I'm not saying that I hate the fucking game, but the game looks too peaceful, quiet, and therapeutic. It's like a whatever game, right? It's okay. You can have those once in a while, but all this, what these kids did with Cyberpunk 2077 and all this shit, I just shouldn't be involved in it. If she's a gamer, she should know to leave things alone. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot have your say in making what the game will supposed to be like, but the finished product is called the time where you review the product. That's about it. If you try to do this stuff beforehand, try to tell the game makers what to do, I mean, you can advise them. As a gamer myself, I do that too. I would send a message to Bungie or the Waypoint, the Halo Waypoint website, before they changed that for Halo Infinite. Before Halo Infinite came out, I was very vocal, not too vocal, but I had at least a good 5 or 7 postings on there in detail what I say to the Bungie or to the ambassadors at large, and I hope they will forward it to Bungie not Bungie, 343, Microsoft Studios, those type of guys, because I heard that 343 Studios was one half of Bungie employees, the original Bungie employees of the Halo trilogy back in the 2000s. So, but those days are over. That's been years ago, at least 10 years now. But guys, getting back on point, mass shootings is something to be of concern about. Yes, I admit that my way of putting myself out there on the internet for the last how many years has been that can be a detriment at times. Because of what? Because I speak truth, or because I add video games to my videos, whether it's through sarcasm or satire, whether it's through relevancy, connecting the dots type of moments. That's what I did. And you look back on my old channel, my Dr. Games main channel, which I called Dr. of Ghetto at one point. That channel has all my past stuff on it from what I did back 10 to 12 years ago. And you can't escape from your past. So you have to see what gamers have to understand is that, or at least what the media is saying, is that we have to control our anger. We have to control what we put out there in things like that. But at the same time, it's the internet. You can't escape it. I admit that I can be a hypocrite at times, saying that, oh, you shouldn't talk any old kind of way on Xbox Live, whatever, because I want to speak my truth on Xbox Live. But don't be some troll on Xbox Live thinking that you're gonna get 1-ups for being a troll. If you talk to gamers older than 25 on Xbox Live, show some respect to them. Now, if they don't have that overall, not demand of respect, but the demeanor of giving them respect, okay, you disrespect them. Because at one point, one of my friends online, who is now 18 years old now, he actually is a gamer for years, playing Apex with me at times. He said I suck, and I told him that I will get better, and I got him better. But he doesn't want to play with me because he's got tired of the game. So it's like, it's like a back and forth thing. It's like, oh, you suck, Charles. 2 years later, I got much better. Us gamers, we're not that destructive. We're not that. If that's the case, there would have been like a civil war by now after all these decades. But we're busy playing video games. There's always something to do on our time. Whether we're working part-time or working full-time, whether our time off we have on video games, or we go to the bar, we go to the gaming bar like over in Brooklyn. There's actual gaming restaurants now and bars popping up throughout the country, especially here in my city. So that's a good thing. But I don't know, guys. Am I ranting just a rant? Am I just looking like a typical mass shooter, mom's basement, soon to be mass shooter, wherever? I mean, as you can tell, I live in an apartment because I'm right outside. Not right outside, but I'm on a certain floor of my apartment, and I'm like, doing what I gotta do for myself. I'm going to school. I'm trying to look for work after going to school. I did look for work before going to college for the first time in about a few months, because I was in school last year or two for a couple of years, then for a year and a half actually, and that got shut down, to school. So it's like, I'm playing the game, and I'm taking advantage of the system to the best of my ability too. And you should too, as gamers. If the media thinks that we're mass shooters because we play video games, then I have to say though that they don't know shit about games, and or they just never thought about seeing in the eyes of what gamers go through, whether it's the experience we experience in GTA, or in Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 10, games like these mediocre games like what's it called, Moving Out, or Conker's Bad Fur Day for the N64, things that matter. Little small stuff like that. They don't understand all that gesturing and satire and things that matter. So, do I look like a scary maniac, man, for these videos I put on YouTube? I hope I'm not, because I'm not. I'm black, by the way, guys. Come on now. I'm not like, a crazy, no offense, crazy white man. I'm sure to laugh about that, but I'm not like that type of guy. I have my own priorities. I look at the government as a whole and its individual political leaders, like Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, and also Henry Paulson back in 2009, to who's that called? Paul Wolfowitz, who was the Deputy Secretary of the Defense, and took part in cover up the Iraq War and things like that. Like, I did my homework on the government, and you should too, and they should do homework on us gamers, because we're not that crazy. If we are crazy, it'll be the whole uprising right now. So, all right, I've been ranting, and thank you, Richard Review Tech USA, for putting that information out there. This is a partial response to what he said earlier this week, as well as the Quarterin, as well as other YouTubers out there. I've been watching you for years, and you see the trends. We might have mass shooter a couple of times every few months to a few years, depends upon how big the mass shooter is, and it's going to continue. So for the time being, until we all acknowledge that we have the Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms. I used to be on the rifle team. I used to shoot a gun, and I still have that feeling of shooting a 21 caliber rifle. It may not be the best rifle, but it's something. And if I look like a mass shooter for saying that, then that means you're ignorant. You don't know shit. You don't know anything about guns, or how to handle a gun, how to clean it, put it together, pull it apart. Now, I don't know how to pull it together, pull it apart, but sooner or later I will learn that tactic, or that handling of a gun. And it's to a point where it's like, you can't just assume because someone had at one point was on a rifle team, was a mass shooter, or if you see him with a gun, open carry license, that he's a mass shooter too. Like, you have, if we as Americans do not have guns none whatsoever hold up, in our arsenal, and we let the government take over our guns and our rights of our Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, we will be eviscerated just like that. With a finger snap, we'll be dead, because they could take over the people, put us in FEMA camps, wherever that predicament was back in 2007, 2008 with the FEMA camps and shit. So, I know I should be talking about politics on the gaming channel, and it's gonna be on my bitch shit anyway. So, but I know, guys, you guys should want to hear this on my gaming channel, but it's something to look into as a gamer, and to understand that we're not crazy. We're not all crazy. We're not all trying to shoot mindlessly for no apparent reason. My God. And I hope it's not. I hope that's his hoax, like Alex Jones was saying. I know that sounds blasphemy what I just said. That sounds like I'm being cruel right now, but there are some instances where the coroner talked about that in one of the mass shootings from last month, May 2022, that the uncle of the victim of being shot was not the real uncle, or that he wasn't really the real family member of that child or victim, we want to call him, of one of the mass shootings. I don't know. It's crazy. Like, everyone's trying to take something out of the situation, and it's like as a political means, especially the political leaders. Alright, please thumbs up, subscribe and share, donate if you can. Everything's down below in the description box. I'll post some articles about the matter at hand. Check down there, of course. So, alright, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.